Everyone knows that nuts are packed with healthy fats and protein. That's what you always hear. But there's a catch, one that almost nobody talks about. Not in your doctor's office, not on health magazine covers, not even on the snack aisle labels. It turns out some nuts, when eaten in the wrong form or in large amounts, can quietly raise your blood pressure, spike your cholesterol, and stiffen your arteries. And yet most seniors never hear these warnings. Why? Because salted, roasted, or sugar-coated nuts sell better than plain, unsalted ones. In fact, one study found that seniors who regularly ate salted nut mixes had a 15% higher risk of hypertension compared to those who stuck to raw nuts. Another trial showed that over-roasted nuts were linked to a 20% rise in markers of artery stiffness. These aren't minor details, they directly affect your heart's health. That's why this list exists. We've ranked the 9 nuts you need to watch out for, from those with hidden salt traps to those carrying too much added sugar or unhealthy fats. Each has been studied and shown to damage heart health when consumed in certain forms. You'll find links to the research below if you want to dig deeper. Before we jump in, leave a comment with your age and where you're tuning in from. I'm here to help you choose the best snacks for a strong heart. Let's begin with number 1. Peanuts in large, salted portions. Peanuts aren't technically nuts, they're legumes, but they behave like nuts in our diets and snack mixes. Seniors often reach for them for their protein kick and convenience. On the surface, peanuts seem harmless, a handful here, a handful there. But over time, especially when consumed in large, salted portions, they can quietly chip away at heart health. First, let's talk sodium. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for most adults over 50, yet the average American clocks in around 3,400 milligrams daily. A single 1.5-ounce serving of flavored roasted peanuts can contain 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium, 20% of the ideal limit, in about a dozen nuts. When you snack mindlessly, it's easy to crush through 2 or 3 servings in one sitting, packing in upward of 600 to 900 milligrams of sodium before you even hit lunch. That extra salt elevates blood pressure by making your body retain fluid, which in turn forces your heart to work harder. Over months and years, this increased workload contributes to arterial stiffness and raises the risk of hypertension, a leading factor in heart attacks and strokes for seniors. Cutting sodium intake by just 1,000 milligrams per day can lower systolic blood pressure by 3 to 5 mmHg in older adults. Beyond sodium, many commercial peanut mixes include hydrogenated oils to extend shelf life. These oils are rich in trans fats, which actively drive up LDL, bad cholesterol, and lower HDL, good cholesterol. Trans fats lodge in artery walls, promoting plaque buildup and narrowing the passageway for blood. Research shows that for every 2% increase in trans fat calories, roughly 4 grams on a 2,000-calorie diet, heart disease risk increases by 23%. For seniors already facing age-related changes in cholesterol metabolism, even small amounts of trans fats can tip the scales toward trouble. Another layer of concern is the balance of fatty acids. Peanuts are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory when consumed in excess relative to omega-3s. Inflammation is a key driver of atherosclerosis, the hardening of arteries, because it damages the inner lining, endothelium, making it stickier for cholesterol particles. Many seniors have diets heavy in processed foods, which further skews the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. A balanced ratio is closer to 4:1, omega-6 to omega-3, but typical Western diets can be 20.1 or higher, significantly increasing chronic inflammation. Populations that reduce omega-6 intake and boost omega-3s see up to a 30% reduction in inflammatory markers associated with heart disease. Practical steps: swap large bags of salted peanuts for single-serve, unsalted packets. Or better yet, replace one peanut snack per week with a portion of raw almonds or walnuts, which have a healthier fat profile and provide beneficial antioxidants. If you crave the peanut flavor, try dry roasting raw peanuts at home without salt. Spread them in a single layer on a baking sheet at 275 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, stirring once. You'll still get that toasty aroma without the sodium spike or trans fats. Number 2, salted almonds and over-roasted almonds. Almonds often wear a halo of heart-healthy virtue thanks to their monounsaturated fats and vitamin E content. But seniors need to be wary of the ready-to-eat versions found in snack aisles. Those roasted in oil and dusted with salt can reverse many of the health benefits. Sodium again is the primary villain. A 1-ounce serving of oil-roasted salted almonds may contain 210 to 240 milligrams of sodium. It doesn't take much. A small handful between TV shows can already be 15% of your recommended daily limit. When seniors snack late in the day, this salt lingers, contributing to overnight fluid retention that shows up as higher morning blood pressure readings. Over months, that chronic elevation, often unnoticed because symptoms can be vague, leaves you at higher risk for heart failure. One study found that older adults who reduced sodium intake by 1,500 milligrams daily reduced their risk of cardiovascular events by 25%. The roasting process itself can be problematic. High heat roasting generates advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These compounds form when proteins or fats combine with sugars at high temperatures. AGEs accelerate aging in blood vessels by increasing oxidative stress and cross-linking collagen in arterial walls, making them rigid. A rigid artery cannot expand easily when the heart pumps blood, forcing pressure up. Seniors already experience decreased arterial elasticity due to natural aging. Adding dietary AGEs compounds the issue. Diets high in AGEs are linked to a 40% increase in markers of oxidative stress and arterial stiffness in older populations. To keep almonds heart-friendly, choose raw, unsalted almonds or those roasted without added oil and salt. Store them properly in airtight containers in the fridge or freezer to prevent rancidity. If you crave that roasted taste, do it yourself in an oven set to 275 degrees for about 20 minutes, tossing halfway through. You'll preserve most of the vitamin E and avoid creating excessive AGEs. Pair a small handful, about 23 almonds or 1 ounce, with fresh fruit or low-fat yogurt to balance the snack and curb overeating. Number 3, cashews with added oils and salt. Cashews have a creamy texture that makes them popular in vegan cheeses and raw desserts, but that creaminess often comes with hidden calories and fats when they're commercially roasted. The oils used, often soybean or cottonseed oil, are high in omega-6 fatty acids and can pack extra calories, while salt boosts flavor but harms blood pressure. A 1-ounce serving of oil-roasted salted cashews typically clocks in at 160 to 180 calories and contains 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium. Seniors who snack 3 times a week on a small handful can easily add 500 to 600 extra calories weekly, enough to gain a pound every 6 to 7 weeks if not burned off. Even a modest weight gain increases the heart's workload. Each extra pound of body weight requires about 2.5 miles of additional artery length to supply blood, raising total peripheral resistance. That resistance translates into higher blood pressure. For every 1 kilogram increase in body weight, systolic blood pressure rises by about 1 mmHg in older adults. Moreover, the imbalance of fatty acids matters. Omega-6 fats are essential, but when they overwhelm omega-3s, they promote low-level inflammation. Cashews roasted in vegetable oils contribute to that imbalance. Inflammation in the arteries causes damage to the endothelium, which over time leads to plaque buildup. Seniors often have lower dietary intake of omega-3s, found in flax seeds, chia seeds, and fatty fish. So every bit of excess omega-6 can tilt the scales unfavorably. Studies show lowering omega-6 intake by 5% of calories while increasing omega-3s by the same amount can drop inflammatory biomarkers by 20–25%. Swap packaged cashews for raw, unsalted ones. If you miss the roasted flavor, spread raw cashews on a baking sheet, lightly mist with extra virgin olive oil, just a teaspoon for a whole cup. Sprinkle on garlic powder or paprika and roast at 275 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. The olive oil adds heart-healthy monounsaturated fats instead of processed vegetable oils, and the seasoning gives flavor without the sodium overload. Limit yourself to a 1-ounce portion and pair with fresh veggies or fruit to keep your calories and sodium in check. Number 4, pecans with added sweeteners. Pecans bring healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants like ellagic acid, but when manufacturers coat them in sugar, honey, or corn syrup to make candied pecans, they swap health benefits for heart health hazards. Added sugars drive up triglycerides, contribute to insulin resistance, and promote weight gain, each a red flag for seniors' cardiovascular systems. A single ounce of candied pecans can contain 8 to 10 grams of added sugar, translating to about 32 to 40 calories from sugar alone. If you snack on a small handful, that's 12 to 15 grams of sugar, 3–4 teaspoons, before you even enjoy a meal. The American Heart Association suggests older adults limit added sugars to under 24 grams daily. Exceed that on one snack, and you've already hit half your limit. Elevated blood sugar spikes cause your pancreas to release insulin. Over time, your cells become insulin resistant, a stepping stone to metabolic syndrome, which doubles cardiovascular risk. Seniors with metabolic syndrome are 2.3 times more likely to develop heart disease than those without. Added sugars also encourage weight gain. Excess calories from sugar convert to fat, often deposited around the abdomen. Abdominal fat is metabolically active and secretes inflammatory cytokines that damage arterial walls. Chronic inflammation thickens arteries and promotes plaque formation. Seniors have less muscle mass and a slower metabolism, making it easier to gain fat and harder to lose it. A 5% weight gain can raise systolic blood pressure by about 2 mmHg and double the likelihood of hypertension in older adults. To enjoy pecans without the sugar crash, buy raw pecans and lightly dress them yourself. Measure out a 1-ounce portion, drizzle with 1 teaspoon of pure maple syrup or raw honey, sprinkle with a pinch of cinnamon, and bake at 300 degrees for 8–10 minutes. You'll use under 5 grams of added sugar per serving, stay within heart-healthy limits, and still satisfy that sweet crunch craving. Number 5, pistachios with shells removed and salted. Pistachios are rich in fiber, protein, and antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which support eye health. Yet when sold shelled and salted for convenience, they become an easy source of excess sodium and calories, often consumed mindlessly. In-shell pistachios force you to slow down. Cracking each nut gives you a moment to pause, removing the grab-and-go speed that leads to overeating. A 1-ounce serving of in-shell pistachios leaves about 49 nuts for eating. The process slows consumption and people typically eat less. Conversely, shelled pistachios let you shovel in 40–50 nuts, which is roughly 160–180 calories and about 300 milligrams of sodium in seconds. That's 20% of your daily sodium limit and nearly 10% of your daily calories gone before you realize it. Participants in a study consumed 28% fewer pistachios when presented in the shell versus shelled. High sodium intake contributes directly to higher blood pressure, but there's also a hidden calorie issue. Those salted shelled kernels are easy to overconsume. Seniors' metabolism slow with age and muscle mass decreases, so excess calories convert to fat more easily. A steady surplus of just 100 calories per day can lead to a 10-pound weight gain over a year, a gain that stresses the heart and blood vessels. Even a modest 5% increase in body weight boosts cardiovascular risk by 20% in older adults. For best results, purchase in-shell, unsalted pistachios. The ritual of opening each shell provides natural portion control. If you miss the flavor boost, lightly sprinkle freshly cracked black pepper, garlic powder, or smoked paprika on 1 ounce of shelled pistachios, then toss gently and let sit for a few minutes before eating. You'll get flavor without the sodium explosion. Number 6. Walnuts stored poorly, rancid fats. Walnuts stand out for their alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that combats inflammation and supports heart health. However, walnuts are highly perishable due to their double-bonded fats. When stored improperly, in warm or humid conditions, they oxidize, becoming rancid. Rancid walnuts generate free radicals that cause oxidative stress, damage cells, and promote inflammation. Exactly what you don't want for your aging heart. You might not taste rancidity strongly. Rancid walnuts only have a subtle off flavor that can be masked in salads, oatmeal, or baked goods. Yet each rancid bite feeds your body harmful lipid peroxides that injure the endothelium, reducing nitric oxide availability, the molecule that helps arteries relax. With less nitric oxide, arteries constrict more, raising blood pressure. Over time, this dysfunction accelerates atherosclerosis. Tests of walnuts from some retail outlets show up to 10% failing freshness standards due to improper storage, even when packaging remains sealed. To protect yourself, buy smaller quantities of walnuts that you can consume within 4 weeks and store them in airtight containers in the refrigerator or freezer. When you open a new package, jot the use-by date on it. If they smell bitter or sharp, toss them. Always rinse walnuts briefly under cool water and pat them dry before eating. Water wash helps remove any surface peroxides. For recipes, grind fresh walnuts just before using to minimize exposure to oxygen. Number 7, Brazil nuts and selenium overload. Brazil nuts are unique for their astonishing selenium content. A single nut provides about 68 to 91 micrograms, exceeding the daily recommended intake of 55 micrograms for adults over 60. Selenium is crucial for antioxidant enzyme function and thyroid health, but more isn't always better. Chronic intake above the tolerable upper limit of 400 micrograms per day can lead to selenosis, marked by symptoms like gastrointestinal upset, brittle nails, and hair loss, and in severe cases, irregular heart rhythms. Many seniors learn that more is better when supplements are concerned, and may assume that handfuls of Brazil nuts translate to superior health. But eating 5 Brazil nuts daily delivers roughly 350–450 micrograms of selenium, already above the safe threshold. Over weeks or months, that consistent excess burdens the liver and kidneys, which process and excrete selenium compounds. High selenium levels can interfere with heart conduction pathways, increasing the risk of arrhythmias, a concern for seniors with pre-existing heart conditions. Cases of selenosis have been reported in individuals consuming just 50 to 100 grams of Brazil nuts daily for 2 weeks, far less than most people realize. Instead of daily handfuls, cap yourself at 1 Brazil nut per day, supplying about 70 micrograms of selenium, still above the minimum but safely below the upper limit. Rotate with other nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, to diversify your nutrient intake and avoid nutrient overload. Number 8, salted macadamia nuts, roasted in unhealthy oils. Macadamia nuts have a buttery flavor and are high in monounsaturated fat, which can be good for cholesterol levels. The pitfall comes when they're commercially roasted in palm kernel or other tropical oils and heavily salted. Those added oils not only pack extra calories but also contribute saturated fat, which raises LDL, bad cholesterol. A single ounce of oil-roasted, salted macadamias can contain 210 calories and 2.5 grams of saturated fat, nearly 15% of the recommended daily limit for seniors. Seniors often think that because macadamias are premium nuts, they're automatically healthy, but those added saturated fats stiffen arteries over time. Stiffer arteries can't expand easily when the heart pumps, so blood pressure rises. For someone over 60, each extra 1 to 2 millimeter Hg can increase the risk of heart attack by 3 to 4%. Just cutting 1 gram of saturated fat per day can lower LDL cholesterol by about 1.8 milligrams per deciliter in older adults. Salt is another concern. A 1-ounce serving may add up to 250 milligrams of sodium, over 10% of 2,300 milligrams daily limit, and many seniors exceed that limit without noticing. High sodium contributes to water retention and higher blood pressure. If you snack mindlessly on a handful, you could be jacking up your blood pressure before dinner. Swap these for raw or dry roasted macadamias without added oil or salt. If you miss the crisp texture, you can toast them in a dry pan for a few minutes until they turn golden. Keep portions to 1 ounce and pair with fresh berries or apple slices for a balanced snack. Number 9. Flavored hazelnuts, sugar or salt-coated. Hazelnuts are rich in vitamin E and healthy fats, and in their plain form, they can support heart health. The issue arises when manufacturers coat them in sugar, chocolate, or salt. A small bag of chocolate-drizzled hazelnuts often contains 12 to 15 grams of added sugar per serving, plus 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium if salted. When seniors indulge regularly, those added sugars spike blood glucose and insulin levels, increasing the risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, both serious risk factors for heart disease. Added salt compounds the problem by raising blood pressure. Over time, that double whammy of sugar and salt accelerates arterial damage. Seniors who reduce added sugar by 10 grams per day can lower triglycerides by 5 to 10 milligrams DL, improving heart risk profiles. A single ounce of sugar and salt-coated hazelnuts can add 200 calories to your day without you realizing it, because the sweetness hides the nutty flavor and tempts you to eat more. At that rate, just 2 indulgent snacks a week could contribute an extra 1,600 calories, risking 4 to 5 pounds of weight gain over a month. Choose raw hazelnuts and lightly toast them at home. If you want sweetness, stir in a teaspoon of cocoa powder and a pinch of cinnamon, then gently bake at 300 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. For a savory twist, toss raw hazelnuts with a sprinkle of smoked paprika and garlic powder. Number 10. Commercial trail mix with candy pieces. Trail mix seems like a healthy grab-and-go snack, but many health mixes include candy pieces, sweetened dried fruits, and salted nuts. Those additions turn a nutrient-dense snack into a hidden sugar and sodium bomb. A 1-ounce serving of nut and candy trail mix can have 10 grams of sugar and 180 to 220 milligrams of sodium, along with 150 to 180 calories. Seniors may assume that mixing nuts with candy still equals good fats, but the sugar drives insulin spikes and the salt raises blood pressure. Together, they create metabolic stress. High blood sugar promotes inflammation in vessel walls, while high sodium stiffens arteries. That combination accelerates plaque buildup and narrows arteries over time. A study showed that people eating mixed snacks with both sugar and salt consumed 25% more calories than when eating plain nuts, increasing risk of weight gain and heart disease. Moreover, candy bits often contain partially hydrogenated oils to keep them from melting, introducing small amounts of trans fats. Even 1 to 2 grams of trans fat per serving can raise heart disease risk by over 15% if eaten regularly. To make your own trail mix, combine equal parts raw almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, then add a small handful of unsweetened dried berries and a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds. Keep the total portion around 1 ounce. You'll enjoy fiber, protein, and healthy fats without the hidden sugars, salt, or trans fats. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, hit the like button and subscribe for more Heart Smart tips. Share your thoughts or questions below, and take care of your heart, one snack at a time.